Hello, I'm Amy Thiel, an independent Scentsy director, and this is my son Trey Thiel.
Hi.
And Jen asked me to talk to you guys about the trips, the Scentsy trips that I've earned over the years. And so I'm going to do this because Jen inspired me to do it, and then I'm going to also send it to my team. So hi to my team too, and hi to Jen's team. So what I wanted to talk to you about is basically I joined Scentsy in, and first of all, excuse the way I look, Trey and I just got back from a 3-mile walk in like 90-degree weather, and we're hot and sweaty, but I promised I'd do this yesterday, and if I would have put it off another day, sometimes you just gotta suck it up and do things you don't want to do. Not that I don't want to do this, but if you wait till everything's perfect, I'll still won't have this video done tomorrow either. So that's why my face is bright red and I'm dripping in sweat. So, but anyway, back to the fact. I joined Scentsy in November of '09, right at the end of the Hawaii trip qualification. I only signed up to get my stuff cheaper, so I didn't even know anything about a trip or how to Hawaii. But I came pretty darn close to earning it for one without even knowing what I was doing. But with that being said, then they did a more parties prizes, I can't remember the name of the incentive, but it was a summer incentive, and I believe it was May, June, and July. So this was the May, June, and July right after I started. And what it was the top 100 earners would win a trip to Boston. And I remember when that came out, I told my husband, well, and I'll admit, I complained to my husband. I'm like, well, that's just not fair at all. There is no way I can be one of the top 100. So there were other prize rooms, like prize room 1, if you sold $400 for May, June, July, you got to pick a prize from that, or room 2, if you sold $1,000, you got to pick from prize room 2. And so I would have told you that I was shooting for the refrigerator in prize room 3. So what I had to do was sell $2,500 for May, June, July, and I'd get that fridge. I would have never told you I was going to earn that trip for 2 to Boston, although in the back of my head that's what I wanted. But my goal was the $2,500 every single month, so I'd get that fridge for sure. During that time frame, there was one month that I had 2 parties with 2 people that signed up, the hostess. So I gave away $2,000 parties and one other one that was over $500. And I remember thinking, wow, there goes my fridge. And but I thought, bigger picture, a recruit's worth more than a refrigerator, and I want them to get off to a great start. So it still turned out that I was able to sell $2,500 all for those 3 months. So I was all happy. I thought I earned the fridge. Well, I got the email, and I earned the trip for 2 to Boston. So I was only in it. I wasn't even in it a year, and I won that trip. So I was one of the top 100. So my husband and I went on an all-expense-paid trip to Boston. Boston is still my favorite trip, and I'll tell you why. I think because it was my first experience. If you guys haven't been on a trip with Scentsy, I can't even explain how wonderful it is. Okay, so they take care of everything, the airfare, they pay for your bag. So we get to Boston, not knowing what to expect, and we go out back behind the airport, or we go where we think we're going to a taxi or whatever, and there's these guys dressed up. They look kind of like butlers in suits with signs with my name, Thiel, and then a black, it wasn't a limousine, but it was sure a fancy car, and they took us privately to the hotel. And so imagine how I felt like a total queen. Then my husband and I go to check in, and we check in, and we go to check in with Scentsy, and they hand us 2 coats, these bags, and 2 debit cards for $200 a piece. And I'm like, what in the world is this for? Well, for the meals we don't cover. Well, breakfast was covered every day, and another meal was provided every day too. So basically, we used that $400 for our spending money. We came home from Boston with more money than we went with. And so I'm not going to go, and then there were nights that you'd go to the room and there'd just be nice presents on your bed. We did a private tour of Fenway Park. My husband thought that was really neat. We went on a dinner cruise out I think it was called the Boston Harbor, sorry. And then we had a murder mystery dinner the last night. And I met some of my very dear friends on that trip that are still to this day my best friends. So after I earned that, there was no way I didn't want to not earn another trip. So around comes, what's the next trip, Trey?
Disney!
So I have always wanted to take my son to Walt Disney because I never got to go. I never had enough money to take my older two sons. And so I was just so excited about this trip to Disney. And so when the trip came out, the trip qualifications, like on August 1st, they're going to post it. You're going to want to go and print that off and study how you're going to earn this next trip. But that's what I did. And I had my plan, and I plan it out each month, what I need to do to earn the trip. Well, let me tell you, Disney was hard, or at least for me, because we only got point for every dollar sold. So if I sold $2,000, I only got 2,000 points for PRV. So it was harder than some of these more recent trips, or at least it was for me. But I tell you what, I just kept working. Every month I tried to hit my monthly goal. And it's about, I don't know, about halfway through it, I was thinking, wow, this is pretty hard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. And I had several on my team that at that time too, they're like, this is too hard. There's no way I'm going to earn it. And they gave up. Well, I didn't give up. Even though in my head I thought, this is hard and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, and I was kind of sad, but I still stuck to my plan every single month of what PRV I needed to do and what I knew I needed to do. I knew I wasn't going to give up. I knew I was going to try no matter what. And so it would have been after Christmas. My husband, Eric, he's like, do you think you're going to earn it? I'm like, honey, I'm like 7,000 points away, and I didn't have any recruits, and so I needed to sell $7,000 in January to earn, or I think it was like 7,500, but it was over $7,000 in January to earn the trip is what I needed to do. And I'm not a $7,000 a month type of girl. I'm more 2,000, 3,000 is a good month for me. So I'm like, but I'm going to try. And I remember him and I, you know, because he said, are you giving up? I'm like, no, I've worked my butt off for 5 months. There's no way I'm giving up now. I'm going to try my hardest and work, but you're going to have to help. And we're going to have to pull this. I don't know where we're going to do it, but we're going to have to do it. Within the next 2 days, we got an email from Scentsy that they were going to double the points for January. So that 7,000 some went down to 3,000 some, which was totally in my range to do. And because they'd looked at everything, and I guess not enough people were earning it. Now, don't get your hopes up because they haven't done that since. But so that was doable. I did it, and I earned the trip for one, and I was going to just buy Trey in, and my husband was just out of luck, and it was good to go. I was so thrilled. I earned the trip for one. I was buying in Trey, but since he wasn't done yet, because still enough people didn't earn the trip. So then after that, I'd already even bought Trey in. I'd already sent it off, and it was a done deal. But then they decided to give everybody 5,000 more bonus points because enough people didn't earn the trip. So guess what? That just made me earn it for Trey. So I went from not thinking I was going to earn it at all to earning it for me to earning it for Trey. So they refund my money, and Trey and I earned the trip. And so my point with that is there are at least 2 people on my team that would have earned that trip with me if they would not have given up halfway through. They would have earned it, and they would have been on that Disney trip with me and Trey. So don't give up. Make your plan and stick to it, even when it doesn't look good. I think my husband's calling, but he'll just have to wait. So I'm going to let Trey tell you a little bit about Disney. What did you think when I told you, and kind of scoot up so they can hear you, what did you think when they told you, or I told you you were going to Disney?
I was
like, what kinds of things did Scentsy do for us? What do you remember them and like the most?
if you would get some,
Speak up.
if you would win it from Scentsy, and you went to the spaghetti place to eat, sometimes you would get to see Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse.
Yep. And did we get to go to a water park?
Yeah, for free, and it was like you would get to go in this giant wave pool and lazy rivers and tons of stuff.
And the whole park was closed. It was after hours since he got to
Yeah.
go in, and we had that park to ourselves, didn't we?
And at night, once you come back from a resort, you would have like prizes. We got this when we saw it. We bought this though, and one night we got like this pass or something to go to this swim party thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
There was
fun.
surprises on the bed, huh?
Yeah, you would get like lighting up swords or chocolate sometimes.
What was our room like?
Oh, the beds were comfy.
And what could you just walk out the door and watch every night?
Fireworks.
Okay, so remember the last night when we had that private dinner?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was fun because Mom made new friends and I made friends too.
So did you like the trip?
Mhm.
So what do you say to Scentsy?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, bud. You can go take a shower.
Good.
So that was our special trip to Disney. It was just Trey's and I, but since then, I like Disney so much that last September, we went back and we took my husband, and we're going again this September. So that was Disney. Then the next time came Punta Cana. It was an easier trip for me to earn. I could pretty much earn it for two, all but 1,000 points based on PRV. And that trip was amazing also. There's just I can't explain Scentsy style trips. So, and then the most recent one, I went to Costa Rica, and it was beautiful. I loved it. The friendships you make on these trips and the way you're treated, it just cannot be beat. This last trip to Costa Rica was pretty darn hard for me to earn. You know, and that's something to think about. Sometimes we don't always like the way it's set up, but I can tell you one thing. If you try your hardest to earn it, even if you don't earn it, you've still won. And here's why. Because the things that Scentsy's asking you to do to earn this trip are things that are going to just keep moving you up in Scentsy. So you're going to make more money, you're going to have a bigger team, and even if you don't get that trip right then and there, you've still won because you've grown your team. So August 1st is a very important date. You're going to want to mark that down. Go to your resource tab in your workstation. Find how to earn that trip to Greece or the Bahamas or the reunion. Make your plan, and don't look big picture. At least for me, it's easier for me to plan. This month, I have to do this PRV, and I need to do this with recruits and promotions. And make a plan. And even if you don't make that plan in the month, make up for it the next month and just keep going. But the most important thing, never give up. Because if you give up in the middle, you just don't know what's going to happen in the end. I watched people not earn Disney they would have, and I watched somebody not win this trip the last time, because another important thing is to watch those PRV points. Like if you're at 1,800 points, and that's 3,000 PRV points that you can get, versus if you go ahead and work hard and do that extra 200 and get 5,000 points if you do 2,000, you're going to want to do that. You want to go for those for sure points. And I always max out my PRV point. Well, I say always, it's the 2,000 or the 2,500 range. If they do some 5,000 range, I'm not that, well, I shouldn't say it. I'd probably try. So, but I hope this is what Jen wanted, and I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I hope you get the point that basically these trips are so doable for you. If you have not earned one, you most certainly can. And it doesn't matter if you've been a consultant a long time or if you've just started, you can so do this and you will not regret it. So that's it. Have a good night. Bye.